Good morning, everyone. I humbly welcome you to an evening with Alhaji Lai Mohammed. We are honored to have in our midst a global public affairs strategist, a cultural diplomat, and a key voice in Nigeria's public communication and governance. And tonight, our discussion will be around his book, Headlines and Soundbites, Moments That Define an Administration. We also engage in discussion about leadership, communication, and public service. Lai Mohammed was Nigeria's longest-serving Minister of Information and Culture. We are honored to have you with us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Anafi.
Sir, how is everything? How have you been since after leaving office?
Well,
Is there anything you are currently pursuing, or you are still resting?
oh, I don't think I rested at all. I was very privileged and fortunate to be appointed special advisor to the Secretary General of UN Tourism as soon as I left office. And for 30 months, I was on that job, and I think it's only December 31st that my tenure expired. Then I've been running a small, government relations firm, which keeps me busy. And of course, I'm also in the process of writing another book. So I think I've been a bit busy. Thank you.
Alhaji, your book, Headlines and Soundbites, was well referenced, well articulated. What inspired you to document Buhari administration through media moments rather than policy timelines?
Thank you, Anna. Please, let me please welcome everybody and thank you for being here this afternoon. As a government spokesperson, I very early realized that the business of government is not just building roads, building hospitals, or building schools, but the business of government is also about communicating and building legacies, building trust, and building hope for its people. And the only way you can do that is through communication. And that is why I decided that I will use the various available tools and strategies available to a communicator to telegraph this to the people. Now, the truth of the matter is that if a government builds roads, builds schools, builds hospitals, but does not communicate it to the people, then the people don't appreciate that government. You find that we are today in an era where perception is also reality. A bad policy, which is very well explained, could come out as a brilliant policy, while a good policy, badly explained, comes out as a bad policy. So that is why I decided to use various communication tools and strategies to influence, chronicle the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Wonderful. There are a lot of headlines and sound bites, as you said in the book. What captures among the sound bites or headlines? What captures the challenges of governing Nigeria?
Well, governing in Nigeria is a bit complex for obvious reasons. I think I would look at three particular headlines or chapters in the book that I think would be appropriate to your question, how complex governance in Nigeria could be. The first is chapter 2 of this book, which I titled Changing the Narrative, A Journey into Boko Haram's Former Stronghold. When we were inaugurated in November 2015 as ministers, one of the things that really shocked me was that despite all the efforts of the administration and especially the military to push back and retain and regain territories which had been occupied by Boko Haram, that the narrative out there was that the government was doing nothing, that the government was not able to displace the Boko Haram insurgents. And it not only the national narrative, not only local, but even international. So I decided that the best way to do this is to have credible information to change the narrative. So I decided that I would go and have a first-hand experience of the successes of our military in the recently liberated territories. So I left Abuja with 40 international and local journalists. We flew to Maiduguri, and from there, with the support of the military, we visited Konduga, Kaure, and Bama, which were the recently liberated territories by Boko Haram. And that first-hand experience helped me a lot in my job. In the first instance, it brought me nearer to the military. I began to understand also the kind of sacrifices the military they were making for Nigeria. And I was able to also see firsthand the damage Boko Haram did. For instance, when I entered Bama on the 5th of December 2015, for a moment I thought I was in Afghanistan because all the road signs were in Arabic. That was how effective Boko Haram was. They were deposing emirs, they were collecting taxes in many parts of the Northeast. And then, of course, this was my first introduction to the mystery of war, because the IDP camp in Bama was my first contact with IDPs. But the important was when I came back with the journalists, they were also able to report independently that the military had regained these territories. But trust Nigerians, they still thought we were packaging the story and that it is not as good as we said. And I remember a particular Southwest governor challenged me and said it was fake news, had given money to journalists. And my answer was, listen, Your Excellency, I have been there. You go too. Come back and tell the world what you have seen. That was the end of the matter.
From that same chapter, you mentioned how at the dying minute of your travel to the then stronghold of Boko Haram, you were asked to get a permission from the president, and by that time, president was in South Africa.
Yes, you see, I was naive. Like I said, I wanted to go to the Boko Haram stronghold, and I informed my colleague, the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Interior, because it is their turf. And so I went ahead and made the arrangements. And then a day to the trip, the Minister of Defense called me and said, I hope you've gotten permission from Mr. President. I said, no. He said, you know, the President is the Commander-in-Chief, and no soldier, no equipment, no platform can be deployed without his consent. I said, yes. but you are the Minister for Defense. He said, but it's not my program, it's your program. So I panicked and I ran to the then Chief of Staff, may God bless his soul. I said, the Minister of Defense is trying to sabotage my program. He says I need to get permission from the President. He said, yes, it's correct. I said, but it's the Minister of Defense. He said, yes, it's correct, it's your program. But don't worry, I'll try and reach Mr. President before the end of the day. Come and see me after mosque. Fortunately, on my way, he now called and said, Mr. President has agreed that we can go, along with that trip. Yes, please, just lest I forget, I said there are three, issues that shows you how complex Nigerians, government Nigeria, can be. The second one, I think, is the what is in chapter 9, before the ballot, inside Buhari's administration's scorecard strategy. You see, a few months to the 2023 elections, the sing song of the opposition was that Buhari spent 8 years doing nothing, and therefore nobody should vote for the APC presidential candidate. And I found this quite annoying because I know that we didn't spend 8 years just taking tea. So I said that, okay, we're going to prove them wrong. So we organized what was called the Scorecard Series. Scorecard Series was an event where all the 7 ministers under Buhari came to give a scorecard, came to give an account of their stewardship for 8 years. And it was televised live, and we eventually also had a legacy portal today, www.pmbscorecard.gov.ng, where you can really see what the president has done in 8 years. But that shows, so we were able to give even the incoming administration materials for their campaign. But despite that, Nigerians remained, they remained imbued to the facts, even when the facts was before them, in front of them. Then the third example is the answers. I'm sure this is a subject that especially the younger ones are always very excited about. You see, the answers started, as you find out, was a very youthful, it is very peaceful protest by young men and women asking for an end to police brutality. Regrettably, it was hijacked midway by hoodlums. Now, but one thing that people now remember about the answers is what has been called the massacre at the toll gate. At no time did my administration ever say lives were not lost during answers. We actually even we documented it. Lives were lost, soldiers were killed, 37 policemen were killed, and that kind of thing. But when the soldiers went to the toll gate, they went there with blank ammunition. See, the military is a very well-organized, enterprise, and you don't just go to the barracks and take your gun and take your ammunition. You must sign for it. Now, my argument has been the same in the last 6 years after the answers. That look, if a man has a goat and the goat goes out and doesn't come back, the owner of the goat will go out and look for that goat. Talk less of a human being. 5 years after answers, nobody has come out today and say my daughter or my son went to the toll gate and he didn't come back. So this is, but unfortunately, you see, and the social media didn't help matters here too. There were a lot of unverified stories. There was a lot of headlines which people ran away with. So that's another. It shows you how difficult it is to govern the country, and because sometimes I think some people have been so wired up to always believe the worst about any administration. And then the last one in that, yes, those are the three examples that I think can show you exactly how complex it is to govern Nigeria and how government communication could be quite tasking.
So, Alhaji, do you think Nigerian media was fair to President Muhammadu Buhari's administration?
You see, the media has no business being fair to anybody. The media has a duty. The Constitution, Section 22, gives the media the mandate to hold every government to account. So it's a situation whereby the power is with the government, accountability is with the media. So at any given time, the media will ask the government what they are doing. We were on two sides of the divide. They were doing their job, we were doing our own too. And of course, it's adversarial in a way, but it does not mean hostility. And I must say that the Buhari administration, we did everything possible to appreciate that and know that we need the media. So we went out to woo them to our side. For instance, you will recall that all through the 8 years of Buhari's administration, Punch newspaper never called him President Muhammadu Buhari. They called him General Buhari, despite the fact that he was voted for by Nigerians. But we didn't take that against Punch. We still visited them when we were doing the round of media houses. Daily Trust also was unrelenting in its attack on the president and the administration, but we never excluded them from any of our tours. So for me, a government communicator must understand that they are very powerful. They can also be powerful allies. You must be able to manage them. But I don't think they've been. The issue is not about being fair or being unfair. I think it's about whether they are doing their job or not.
How much power do headlines truly have in shaping public perception of governance?
Enormous. The powers of headlines, they are so enormous. You see, unfortunately these days, with the new technology, with the new media, the attention span of the average citizen has shrunk. People no longer have time to read articles or read theses. The average Nigerian today doesn't want to read any document. He runs away with the headlines. But the headlines don't always tell the story. And this has even gone very bad in the sense that on our radios and television stations today, we have programs that just talk about the headline. So most people run away with the headline without even getting to the, to the story itself. And of course, the editors too want catchy headlines to sell their papers. Now, today, when I go on the social media and I see breaking news, the moment I see breaking news, I know it is not breaking news at all. Now, so that is how powerful headlines are. And it was these same headlines that made the NSAS protest, so controversial. Because the day after the protest was dispersed by the soldiers, the headlines were massacre at the toll gate. They were giving various numbers. Some said 100, some said 60, some said 40. It was those headlines, and nobody, unfortunately in Nigeria today, you send a story, nobody bothers to verify, they share. So yes, headlines are very, very powerful.
This NSAS, do you think governments had adequately handled the communication while the NSAS protest was going on? Do you think,
No.
because most Nigerians perceive the government were against them, and your headlines, I think, made a lot of contribution to the protest.
Talk about the answers.
Yes, the answers.
Now, you see, when you look at the answers, what was answers all about? The answers came with 5 demands, and they think their number 4 demand was that the SAS, that's the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, should be dismantled. By the second day of their protest, the police agreed to dismantle SAS. Not only did they dismantle SAS, they asked them to come and each of them will report and undergo medical checkup before they will be reassigned. Within the 3rd day of the answers, the president himself addressed Nigerians and told Nigerians, especially the youth, that the disbandment of SARS is just the first step in its bid to reform the Nigerian police, and that any member of the disbanded SARS that was found guilty would pay for it. That to me is transparency. That to me is accountability. Now, of the 5 demands that the NSAS, the NSAS group asked for, all the 5 were accepted by the government, and the government even set up technical committees to address the issues. I think, if I remember, at the Economic Council meeting, the state governors were mandated to set up relief funds for victims of NSAS. But the truth of the matter is that NSAS was hijacked by hoodlums a few days into the protest, and they now kept asking. From the 5 demands, it became 10, and at the point in time, they actually asked the president to resign. Yeah. So that is. So if we talk about accountability, if you talk about responsibility, if you talk about transparency, I think the government bent backwards to accommodate all the demands of NSAS. But I think, you see, it's like NSAS, they never knew they would be so successful, especially when some other people hijacked it, and they kept asking for more and more things. And no government would, stay idle and see chaos. Because today, when you talk about answers, the only thing people talk about is the so-called massacre at the toll gate. But nobody remembers that 37 policemen were also killed. Nobody remembers that 6 soldiers were killed. Nobody remembers that 164 police stations were burnt down. Nobody remembers that 81 warehouses were looted. Nobody remembers that Lagos state government, that they imported luxury buses, about 50, hundreds of them by Lagos state government, was burned down. So I think it's high time. Yeah, you see, protest is guaranteed. I mean, is allowed by our constitution. But I think lawlessness and arson and violence that accompanied the NSAS should be guarded against.
Alhaji, let me take you back to 2021, June 2021. Buhari's Twitter handle, M. Buhari, tweeted, Many of those misbehaving today are too young to be aware of the destruction and loss of lives that occurred during the Nigerian Civil War. Those of us in the field for 30 months who went through the war will treat them in the language they understand. This particular tweet was later taken down by Twitter under its abusive behavior policy. Many Nigerians believe this incident directly influenced your decision to ban Twitter as at then. Looking back now, was the suspension necessary, or it was just a communication mistake?
I think, Hanafi, what you are basically asking me is if I regret suspending Twitter.
Yes.
And the answer is no. I will do it again under the same circumstances. Because the most important ingredient in any civilization is stability and security.
Sure.
We did not ban or suspend Twitter services because of the tweet, no. So because Twitter became the platform of choice for all those who wanted to destabilize Nigeria. And we felt that it is because there's a country called Nigeria. That is why even Twitter can come to operate, or any social media. So, yes, if you ask me again, if I would choose security of the nation over the inconvenience or the business, the profit of any business. So, I don't think I regret suspending the service of Twitter under those circumstances. As for the quote by Buhari that was wrote by Twitter, I said repeatedly that as wrong as it was for Twitter to have done so, it was not the basis for suspending them. And if you go to my book in page 412, paragraph 2, I said as much, and please permit me just to read what I said there. I said, contrary to popular belief, Twitter's suspension did not come out of the blue. The government had consistently warned social media companies operating in Nigeria not to lend their platforms to be used by purveyors of fake news, disinformation, and hate speech. Our concerns deepened during the EndSARS protest of October 2020, when Twitter became the platform of choice for those spreading fake news and disinformation. Unverified images and videos were amplified, inflaming passions and transforming a peaceful protest into widespread violence. For the record, when I approached President Muhammadu Buhari to inform him of my intention to suspend Twitter, he asked me two direct questions. One, are you suspending Twitter because it deleted my post? I answered in the negative. Do you have the capacity to block the platform? I answered in the affirmative. The president then gave me his approval. You see, I'm glad that I have Madam Garba Shehu here, who is actually a witness to what I've been saying. But that's the situation, that it had nothing to do. I was the one that went to Mr. President to ask for the suspension of Twitter. So he didn't complain to anybody about his tweet. Well, you know it was that it had been removed.
So do you believe that that particular tweet was wrong for the president to have said that? More especially the language you understand. The in quotation, the language you understand.
You see, this is my problem with Twitter. The double standard and hypocrisy. If you go to page 411 of my book, and I'm going to read there the tweet that Nnamdi Kanu posted. He said, it is not for the living to respond to the dead, but given the lack of reasoning prevalent in the zoo, because he calls Nigeria a zoo, I wish to assure as Garba Shehu, the jihad midget, I'm sorry, that's what he said, El Rufai, and that Fulani lapdog, Femi Adesina, that any army they send to Biafra land will die there, none will return alive. Which is more offensive, Nnamdi Kanu's tweet or Buhari's tweet? So you see, this is the whole reason why this book was written. A lot of things behind that happened behind the headline. You cannot remove the tweet of a president of a country for what he said, and then somebody who now says that if the Nigerian army goes to Biafra land, they will not come back alive. You leave it there.
You know how Twitter works is that if a particular tweet is being made, what will make Twitter to take it down will be the amount of reports from the users. So well, is it that people supported that Nnamdi Kanu's tweets there were more than?
No, there were a lot of Nigerians that actually felt very bad about that tweet.
But did not report?
They reported to Twitter. But you see, doesn't Twitter itself have its own sense of morality or rightness or wrongness? So if nobody objects to my tweet and I said that all Nigerians have 3 heads, it will stay like that? No, I think there's a lot of, you see, don't forget that Twitter, during answers, I think one of the vice presidents was actually on ground and was directing and, reposting and retweeting everything anti-government. So I think Twitter, did not do what it ought to do. And I thank God today that we took that action we took. Because that action was what brought Twitter to the negotiation table in Nigeria. Before then, Twitter never registered in Nigeria. They never paid taxes. It was after the suspension they came back. And we said, look, you can't be doing business here and not be paying taxes. We gave them conditions. The level of Nigerians they must employ. And today, if you go to FRNO, the NRS, they will tell you how much tax Twitter pays in Nigeria. And beyond that, we've agreed on how to address tweets that are not, that are capable of disrupting the peace and stability of Nigeria.
Alhaji, during your tenure, you had so many initiatives, some of which are projecting Nigeria's national image, pursuing institutional reforms, driving the digital switch over, managing the Twitter, handling the NSAS protests, promoting culture and tourism, reviving the National Theatre, facilitating the return of stolen artifacts, championing the Change Begins With Me campaign, amongst others. Looking back, which of these you consider your most significant achievements?
Thank you very much, Anafi. They read the book. Yes, I think all of them, to me, and more, are significant achievements. Whether it's the fact that we succeeded in reviving the National Theatre. National Theatre was built in 1977, and by the time I became minister, it had become disused. It has become almost, as a matter of fact, only churches were renting the grounds. Today, we thank God that we have a brand National Theatre and it's helping the creative industry. But I think what I would think is my biggest achievement is my ability to use communication tools to actually, telegraph to the people and get their feedback to government about the activities of government. Otherwise, we will not even be where we are today. So the matter is that if anything is done and it's not reported, it's as if it is not done at all. So I still take as my best, as the biggest achievement, the fact that we were able to use several communication tools and strategies like town hall meetings, like testimony series, like scorecards, like visit to media houses to telegraph the administration's achievements and implementations.
Looking back, what do you consider the most misunderstood policy or decision during your tenure?
I would say the change begins with me was the most misunderstood, policy or decision of the administration. You see, this is a program which I personally funded even before I became a minister. When my name was, the moment I saw my name being sent to the National Assembly, I suspected, and rightly too, that I will be given the portfolio of information. So I called a small team, personal team, and said, look, our most important job will be changing the attitudes of Nigeria. That unless we are able to have a national ethos, and Nigerians imbibe that ethos of integrity, hard work, honesty, and they eschew corruption and bribery, we will never move ahead as a country. The successful countries in the world today have national ethos. So at my own expense, I set up a team and we decided on the kind of campaign we are going to run. I've been in government before, but I've never been at the federal level. So that was my first reality check, was that no matter how beautiful, no matter how strong your idea is, one, if there's no budgetary provision for it, is zero. And then we also ran into a lot of headwinds, which were as if the whole program was choreographed to fail. But I still insist that whether now or in future, we need to bring back change begins with me. Because that change we are all asking for, it's not just with the ministers or with the governors. Every Nigerian must be honest to Nigeria. Every Nigerian must be patriotic. Today, bribery is from the gate man to the receptions up there. And that is what change begins with me sought to cure.
Do you see it as a successful campaign?
Pardon?
Do you see it as successful?
I didn't succeed because I didn't have the funding. I took my campaign to the governors. They promised. I didn't get any money except the FRCN and the NTA that continuously, ran my campaign. I didn't have money to put the campaign on the private media. I didn't have the funds to do all what I have done to make it a national, a campaign. So I hope that those following would be able to revive it and take off from where I stopped.
During your HSR, what can you say was the most difficult moment as the Minister of Information and Culture?
I think my most difficult moment would be during the NSAS era, because during the NSAS era, I just want to look at the page where in the book. No doubt that it is the NSAS. It will be two, the NSAS and also the
Twitter
and Twitter ban. If you go to page 45 of the book, and please allow me to read, you see why it is probably one of the most difficult period of my tenure. Page 45, I think it's 3, 4, 6, 4, sorry, is it 4, 6, 5 or 4, 3, 5? Let me see. Yes, it's 4, 3, end of the 4, 3, 5, 2, 4, 3, 6. Yes, it says, as the controversy raged, my family came under fire, almost literally. They bore the brunt. They were vilified online. Their businesses boycotted. And my son labeled the child of a murderer. My home address was circulated online, forcing me to seek security protection for my family and their businesses. Feeling the pressure, my family met and asked me to resign from the government. Of course, I turned down their request. I told them I would have resigned without hesitation if a massacre had truly occurred, but nothing of the sort did. I said if I went ahead to resign simply because the government was being attacked by protesters, what should President Buhari do? After all, for every attack directed at me, hundreds more were directed at the president. I told them that if I resigned, they would be held up in future as the children of a man who betrayed his boss when things got tough. So I told them we should strike a compromise, that they were free to change their names so they would no longer be associated with me. That was what diffused the tension at home, at the home front. It is important to base history on facts, not hysteria or fiction. A massacre leaves behind corpses, grieving families, and undeniable evidence. None of this exists in the case of the so-called Lekki massacre. What we witnessed was the triumph of disinformation over truth, of a concocted narrative over evidence. And as long as no families have stepped forward and no bodies had been produced, the truth remains unshaken, which is there can be no massacre without bodies. Now, like I said, the other one that shook me was the Twitter. Those are the two that I would consider. And again, I would want to refer you to the book, because that is, if you go to page 409 of the book, which is almost I said the decision to suspend Twitter, now X, was one of the toughest decisions I made as a minister for two reasons. First, the impact it would have on Nigerians who use the platform to advertise their goods and services or as influencers. Secondly, the optics it will project regarding government's commitment to freedom of expression and the opening up of the democratic space. Yet, none of the reasons outweighed the threat to national security posed by a freewheeling and irresponsible use of social media platforms, especially Twitter. In governance, public interest must always take precedence over individual interest. So I would say those are the two, incidents that I think
the most difficult.
Yes, the most difficult, yes.
Sir, you were the longest serving Minister of Information and Culture. If you are to advise the current minister now, what will be your first counsel?
You see, no two situations are the same. And there are different moments come with different challenges. And I believe that if really, honestly, if I have any advice I want to give the Honorable Minister of Information today, since I have excellent relationship with him and we do talk, I think that will be a better avenue to exchange such views. But I must say again, I can't be presumptuous. What was obtainable in my tenure may not be exactly what is obtainable in his own tenure. But above all, I can assure that if I have any reason to advise him, which I do, and we have very excellent relations, I think I will pass it to him.
So what key lessons from your office should the current leadership adopt?
Well, again, like I said, the situations are completely different. And don't forget that I'm a very loyal member of the APC. And this is my government. And I've been a founding father too of the party. And the climate is not necessarily the same. And the government is doing its best. And once again, since I have this back channel that I use to reach out to the government and the president, I don't hesitate to reach out to them when I believe that they need either institutional memory or they need my experience.
Alhaji, we have known you from ACN from ACN up to APC. And you happen to serve 8 years under Buhari, who we believe to be from CPC faction of the APC. And do you see yourself still with the ACN faction of the APC, or you see yourself as under the umbrella of APC?
You see, the moment the merger took place, Buhari never treated anybody as CPC or ACN or DPP or MPP. He treated all of us as APC. And the significant thing about the APC is that it's the first successful merger in the history of Nigeria. When you merge, you lose your earlier identity. Actually, as a matter of fact, you surrender your certificate of registration. This is the difference between what we tried to do between 2005 and 2013. You know, when we were AD, we had some form of alliances, some partnership. It never worked. Only APC worked. As a matter of fact, if not because you are saying, I can't even remember those of my colleagues who were from CPC or those who were from MP, because we worked together as one team.
We only learned the faction, the CPC faction and the ACN faction during this administration. Okay, do you believe that President Muhammad Buhari handled it better than this current administration? Because we only come to learn about the faction during this administration.
I'm not aware of the faction. Believe me. Believe me. I know what I have. And if you ask me sincerely, Buhari's legacy will be insulted if it is restricted just to CPC members. For 8 years, you know, I said it in an interview. I said 2 people, history will remember 2 people as the heroes of our democracy, modern democracy. One is President Muhammadu Buhari, and the other is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Why do I say this? It took the bigness of heart of these 2 leaders to have APC as a party. They both considered and gave up virtually everything just to see that APC came as a party. So for anybody today and said, I want to see the president and I am a Buharist. Who is a Buharist? I came from ACN to join APC, and I revere him. So it would be wrong for you to say that you are a Buharist and you don't include me or include Fashola. No, I think, again, this is not the forum for that discussion. Yes.
Sir, we say there is no Buharist, but many people from the CPC call themselves Buharist.
No. I'm saying that if you say you are a Buharist, you are insulting his legacy by limiting it to those who are CPC. That's what I'm saying.
But we have so many aggrieved CPC bloc now. What can you say about them?
Since I don't even recognize them, how will I know they are aggrieved? You know.
So do you believe they were disfranchised? Do you believe with their agitation? Do you believe with their concern they are raising now?
I don't even know what the agitation is. Honestly, I don't know what it is. Believe me, I'm being sincere. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, sir, how can you? This administration is almost approaching the 4th year. How can you rate the administration? Is the administration still under the blueprint of APC, or they have diverted at a point?
Look, like I said during this interview, you see, a government comes to office and he adapts to the situation on ground. Times are very tough. They're very even different from our own time. And like I said, this administration is doing its best, and we all owe the administration a duty to support.
Sir, you have served under the current president, and do you see him as that same person you once served under?
In terms of
his administration, in terms of his policies and leadership style?
I will say this for Asiwaju. It's probably one of the sharpest minds you can ever find. It's one of the best political strategies you can ever find. And I don't think that has changed with time. Asiwaju sees what many of his aides don't see. I remember it would be 2004 or 5 I went into his house in Bodilon. And I saw some characters waiting to see him. I knew what meeting we were coming to attend. So I went to Ashwaju. Sir Excellency, I hope Mr. X and Mr. Y are not coming for the same meeting. He said, yes, they are coming. So in that case, Your Excellency, I can't attend that meeting. He said, why? I said, but you know what Mr. X did to you. You know what Mr. Y did to us. So why are they coming here? He looked at me. He said, like, you know your problem? You don't understand politics. This place is the chapel of all sinners. The good, the bad, and the ugly. We will match them together. You see, he said, you like, see that mad person? If he has a PVC, and it's just sane for the period of voting, his vote might determine who wins or who loses. So let's sit down. You see, he is so magnanimous. Ashwaju has such a large heart. But when it comes to governance, believe me, he knows what he's doing.
So is your party still hopeful of 2027?
We have no opposition. Or are you an ADC?
I know, I don't belong to any party. I don't belong to any party. So, sir, any advice for the youth?
Yes. You know, when people talk about the youth, somebody passed something around a few weeks ago. It was very amazing. That when Obafemi Awolowo became premier, he was 37. That when Sardauna of Sokoto became premier, he was 35 or thereabout. That when Zeke was about the oldest of them, was about 39 or 41. Then, incidentally, we are also celebrating today the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Alhaji Lai Mohammed. May he rest in peace. Was only 37. Now, when Gowon became head of state, he was 32. So, it's not as if only old men like me have occupied, position of authority or responsibility in Nigeria. But of course, we're talking about a time when both population and opportunities were quite different. Now, my advice to the youth is that they have what we don't have, which is vigor, talent. They're very innovative, but they need to be mentored. And they need to learn from our mistakes. I was telling Anafi that I was arguing with my uncle one day. And the man looked at me and said, like, if you are as intelligent as me, are you as stupid as me? And I said, what does it? And no, he said, it's about experience. So I want to appeal to the young man, to the youth. Please have faith in this country. This country has huge potentials. Nobody will come and build this country for you. And please stop demarketing your country. Calling Nigeria a zoo, saying that Nigeria will never do well, is the biggest disservice you can do to your country. You see, if you are fond of beating your wife, the day you are not in, somebody will beat her for you. Most of the problem we are undergoing today in terms of our image abroad, or probably describing Nigeria as a country of particular concern, is from what we Nigerians have been saying about Nigeria. It's what we're, you go on social media at times, you begin to wonder, are you in the same country? You cannot sell your country cheap. There's no country that does not have its own challenges. but they work together to achieve it. And honestly, I don't regret it. I've always said the social media must be regulated. Not because of government, but because of Nigerians. So my advice to you is that you are in a fantastic country, a country of opportunities, but please be patient and don't demarket Nigeria and don't lose hope. Thank you very much.
So another thing, how do you think we can integrate into the current system, more especially the politics now that money is involved, and considering the fact that we don't have money as youth?
As I have?
No, as youth.
Now, why do you want to go into politics, sir? Let me ask that question.
To serve?
No. Unfortunately, no. You can serve your country from any capacity. There are many Nigerians today who are serving Nigeria in their own little way. And this is why I respect the skilled workers, I respect the small and medium-scale entrepreneurs, I respect the civil service. How many are we politicians? How many are we? Compared to the bulk of Nigeria, yes, there's merit in service. But unfortunately, the impression out there is that the only way to make money in Nigeria today is to be in politics, which is quite harmful to politics, which is quite harmful to governance, and is quite harmful to Nigeria. There are many civil servants, there are many technocrats who have left better paying jobs to come to serve in Nigeria. And believe me, if they tell you their experience, the only thing that keeps them going is patriotism. So, yes, I would, if you want to, how do you join politics? The only work you start from the top is digging a well. So if you want to start politics, you have to start from the grassroots level. Of course, and I must say that, if you have certain talents, you can join, at the higher level. But what are you bringing to politics? You ask yourself, okay, if, for instance, a professor can say, okay, you're bringing a lot of knowledge, but I will always encourage young men and women to be interested in what is going on around them. Politics is three ways. You could join politics for elective office, which means you want to join and come and contest as councillor, as chairman, as House of Assembly, as governor, as House of Rep. That one, no doubt, will cost you a lot of money. And it's not the politicians that have made that difficult. I think it's the society itself. Two, you could decide to say, I want to join politics and work for the party hierarchy. In my time, it didn't pay. We were spending our money to run the parties. I don't even think that they are on salaries right now, probably they're on allowances. But it was the passion and commitment that drove us. Yes, people say, but you are rewarded at the end. Oh yes, I thank God I was rewarded, but that was not my primary motive. So I would not discourage you from going, but it's hard work, I must say. Very hard one. It's a very long journey also.
Thank you very much. And let's now turn to the audience if there are any questions. Any question? Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes. My name is Chiagoze Okunze. Yes, I'm presently a youth corper. I listened to your interview with distinguished journalist Edmond Obilo. It was a brilliant one. And sir, to commend you, you've been consistent as a politician in opposition and also while in government. Though this interview has majorly been about your book and politics, but I want to ask my question regarding your life as a young man. What shaped you? Did you find yourself in public service? Or was it always a goal of yours as a young man? Then, for we young people that are looking for opportunity to serve the country, what should we be doing at this time? What qualities should we be looking to build that would help us in public service? But I would like if you can speak to yourself, like to you when you were young. What did you aspire to be, and how did you also find yourself in public service? Then also, I wanted to ask about, because you've made a point that there are different ways we can serve the country. It doesn't have to be politics. But then one other way, which you mentioned, could be the civil service. But we've seen how nepotism even plays a very big role in our civil service. And I know you were a minister in charge of Ministry of Information. So you said that some avenues are already blocked for young people. Civil service, you likely have to have somebody in there to even get accepted into the civil service. So it's becoming, even after that politics is even constrained, civil service is also becoming constrained. So opportunities to serve are already constrained. So what is your advice to we young people? And you mentioned the mentorship. In my own little experience, I've seen that not so many even experienced or mid-level politicians and accomplished people are willing to mentor. So it's becoming increasingly difficult to, as a young person, to find his or her path. And that's why you see many young people, what they do or what they feed on is probably sycophancy. They are around these politicians or these senior people, and we're just breeding sycophants as a country. So what's your advice to the young people? How do we approach it in our present times to serve our country? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think your questions, if I have to answer them, will take us a whole day. But I think you've made some very valid observations, which is how does a young man get into civil service? I will be honest with you that it's quite daunting now. But I think collectively, we can all make this country to work. And this is why I go back to my earlier position, that we need a national rebirth. The country needs to embrace, this change begins with me mantra. See, when you take bribe as a gate man, the day your son finishes in secondary school is going to affect him. Because when he was going to submit his own application to ask him to bring bribe. So really, we need a national orientation. We need to imbibe the ethos of integrity, honesty, hard work. We need to eschew favoritism, corruption, bribery, and it can only be done through institutionalized method. And fortunately for us, we have the framework already. We have the National Orientation Agency, which is in each of the 774 local government areas of Nigeria. We can use them to preach this message. As for mentoring, I think that we who have had the privilege and grace to have served at this level should be ready and willing to mentor. One of the reasons why I wrote this book, really, is to serve to inspire posterity. That you can be anything you want with the grace of God. You want to know how I go into politics? Very interesting. Well, I was just like you. I had a first degree. I went to the university. I had a first degree in French, and then was teaching university. Then later I got into public service. But don't forget that in those days, we were not very many, so it was easy to get a job. And then later, so I got bored, said to go and read law. Came back again to the system, and then said to go and set up my law practice. It's actually my partner in my law firm that dragged me into politics. I had no interest at all in politics. He dragged me to politics then. From there, it was now about 1989, we did the SDP and RC. Then we all suffered annulment. And then we found ourselves in Nadeco. Then eventually I was fortunate when Ashwaju became governor. He made me his chief of staff. And those 3 years inspired me, and I wanted to go and run for office in my state. I went and lost, and came back to serve the party. And between 2005 and 2015, I was at various times the spokesperson for AC, ACD, ACN, and finally APC. And when we won 2015, the president was very kind to make me a minister. So that's my life story. Thank you.
Good evening, sir. My name is Umar Mahmoud Engaziki. Hearing from your story, serving as minister for 8 years, and the achievement, especially the one of NSAS and that of Twitter, I have a question to ask. The question is, what's the effect, like an advice for the youth about the effect of jumping into conclusion before confirmation?
Jumping to conclusions?
Before confirmation for a story or something. Thank you.
No, you see, the thing about the social media is that people don't validate stories. You see, the social media is about speed. It's also about volume. And it also plays on the natural instinct of man. We like salacious stories. We like reading scandals, except our own. And yes, Twitter, many Nigerians make their living out of using Twitter. Many of them are influencers. Many of them sell their goods using Twitter. But for us in government, it is the information aspect that bothers us, especially the fake news, disinformation, and hate news. In a country like Nigeria, which is so ethnically and religiously divided, a government must be very, very careful and watchful of what is being said on these platforms. And the sad thing about social media like Twitter is that there are no guards. You see, usually the normal newspapers or radio, you have editors. You can filter things before it gets out. But social media today, anybody with enough money, enough data, can make an audio, make a film, make a video that will go the whole world. That is why I insisted that there must be some form of regulation.
A very good evening. My name is Mohammed Bello. Honorable, it's nice to have you. It's been long. We always see you on television. It's good to see you live.
Please, can you please louder a bit, sir? Louder a bit, please.
Okay. I said it's
Only rich men speak with that kind of voice.
It's good to see you live. For a very long time, we've been seeing you on television, carrying on with government business and stuff. I have two questions for you. Question number one: if you were to be in power today, or you were to advise the government of the day,
So what to be?
I said, if you were to be in power today,
Yes.
and or you were to advise the government of the day, what would you say to it if the situation similar to the one in Iran a few days ago happened in Nigeria? And would you toe the line of the Iranian government by apologizing to the citizens of the country, or you will take the kind of action that you took during EndSARS? Number one. Number two, if you were to be in power again today, or you were to advise the government, what would you say if somebody were to be on NTA network, and the person mentioned your name, and the next thing, the management of NTA got a directive from you to yank that person from that particular public talking position? Thank you.
Are you saying because he abused me?
No, he didn't abuse you. In the course of the talk show,
Because of the talk?
in the course of the talk show,
Yes.
he mentioned your name and gave an example of what you said somewhere.
Yes.
And then a few hours later, he was told not to show up for the next successive shows.
And I was the minister then,
Yes.
and I was not aware. Well, I don't think. You see, when you're in public office, you should expect a lot of attacks. And with all sense of modesty, I think after Buhari, I was the most attacked person in my government. People called me all sorts of names, Lai Mohammed, this and that. But you take it in your stride. For me, it's like public office. I'll tell you a story. One day, I had Mazouk is about 11 now. He was about 5 years old then. And I was taking him, he was in my car, and he said, Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why did they call you Lai Mohammed? That was my 5-year-old grandson. Well, it goes with the terrain. But I don't think that under my tenure, I directed anybody to fire anybody because the fellow, mentioned my name. I don't think I didn't do it. Now, you see, governance. You ask me what is my advice to this government. You see, governance is very complex. My advice is this. You see, in governance, don't allow any vacuum. Once there's a vacuum, opposition naysayers will occupy it. Number two, even when you are taking time and thinking things over, they say it's conspiracy. And if you delay in making decisions, they will say it's a cover-up. So the challenges facing government, they are enormous. And there's no one-size-fits-all solution. Everybody will do his own bit. And again, what worked for us might not work for them. But like I said earlier, it's my government. It's my administration. And if and when I need to talk with them, I have my channels to reach them. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
So my question here today is looking back at the periods like EndSARS and Twitter suspension. Does your book acknowledge any government communication missteps, and what should have been handled differently?
I think this question was asked directly by him. And I said, Twitter, for instance, I have no regrets. And if the situation arises today, I will do exactly the same thing. Governance is very complex. What you see is half the story. That is why this book is important. What you see, what you read, is only the headlines. You don't know what goes on in governance. You see, I give an example in this book. When I became a minister, I had 21 parastatals under me. Dorothy, right? I had 21 parastatals under me. And I had to make appointments, CEOs. So I said, okay, let me first make 6 appointments. I chose NTA, FRCN, Insurgency of Nigeria, National Broadcasting Commission, National Retention Agency, and I think Voice of Nigeria. Because of my little experience, I knew that I had to give one, each geopolitical zone must have one. So I couldn't take all of them to Kwara or to Lagos. And that was the first time I realized how little I knew about Nigeria. Who did I know in the Southeast? Who did I know in the Northwest? Who did I know in the South-South? So I had to rely on friends, political associates. Please, I'm looking for I want to appoint a DG for NTA. Do you have somebody from Northwest? Because I want somebody from that place. Or, okay, do you know somebody from the Southeast? So I had to ask. At the end, I got 6 nominations. And I passed them to the president to approve. When the approval came, it was 1.5 out of 6. Why 1.5? I recognized only 2 names out of the 6 I submitted. The 4 other names were strange. I didn't know about them. And even of those 2, only one was giving what I wanted. Well, but the law says the president shall appoint on the recommendation of the minister. He doesn't have to accept your recommendation. So I just said, well, that is it. I remember that day, a day or so after, the president had not taken ill because at the beginning of administration, after every FEC meeting, he would sit down with us and we would eat together. So I was going to take my food and he called me and said, Lai, have you seen the approval I gave you? I said, look at this man. No. I asked for 6 things. He gave me 1.5. He's asking me to come and prostrate. But I couldn't say it. So I said, Excellency, thank you very much. I was meant to come and see you in the office. So when I went to sit down to eat, it was my friend, Dembazao. I said, look at this, your man. I asked for 6 things. He gave me 1.5. And he's asking me to come and... I said, you know, there's a lot of pressure on him also. So we forgot it. About it. I went back to my office. 2 days later, a governor who gave me a nomination came to me and said, Egbon, why didn't you present my nomination to the president? I said, don't mind that man. No. I gave him 6 names. He gave me 1.5 back. The governor said, Egbon, you paro now. I said, stop lying. I was shocked because much younger than me. I said, what do you mean? Your Excellency, what do you mean by stop lying? He said, I'm from the president. And I confronted him. And his answer was, can Lai give me a list and I will change it? I said, I beg your pardon. He said, yes. So I opened my drawer. I said, go back and meet him. This is what I gave him. This is what he returned. He looked at it too. He was perplexed. I said, you must go and see because you have called me a liar. So after about 4 or 5 days, I didn't hear from him. So I called him again. Excellency, haven't you seen him? He said, Egbon, please, I'm coming. Where are you? I said, in the office, come. When he came back, he came back with a third list. Indeed, the president approved every name I gave him and against every office. This was doctored somewhere along the line. Meanwhile, by the time this came, we had inaugurated the other idiots. They started working with me, and for 4 years, I was saddled with work with them. This is governance. This is the reality of governance, not what you read. What could I do? There are so many other examples in this book. And more questions.
I'm not going to ask a question. My name is Babs Olugbemi, and I think we've asked a lot of questions. What we should do is to get the book and read. I want to believe this book is filling a gap. We have intelligent men and women in Nigeria and across the world, and they have one big fear. They want to serve this country. They want to be part of the political system, but they fear that, after serving, a lot of Nigeria will see them as bad people. They will be isolated, maybe based on the performance of the administration or based on headlines and sound bites that we didn't really get to know. And you have mentioned a word here today. You've said governance is very complex. You've said it about 7 times. When you are not in that space of leadership, you don't know the pressure they are passing through. So your book is filling a gap that if you can come out and tell your story,
Yes.
maybe perhaps people will have different perspective. I've seen in Nigeria where people serve and they become totally bad people. And when you move closer to them, you realize that they have values. They are intelligent. They meant it well, but maybe the system or the institution has shaped them. So I want to commend your effort for doing this, and I hope people will also come out and tell their stories. I equally believe, especially for the young generation, they will read. Because among all these 5 senses, if you are a reader, you can make informed decisions, you can do things right. So it's a good effort that you are coming out to tell your story. The more of such story that we tell, the more we reduce the negative effect of headlines and soundbites that are not correct. So well done to you. So mine is not a question, it's just a comment to say, well done for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, my name is Comrade Anas Lawal Kangiwa from KB State. Sir, I have one question. From the headlines and soundbites, you emphasize the power of media narratives in shaping public perception. And from your experience, sir, how does strategic communication influence policy success, especially during period of economic reform? Thank you very much.
How does what?
How does strategic communication influence policy success, especially during economic reform? I'm sorry, I'm a stammerer.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. You see, strategic communication, you said, how does it help to help government, especially during, say, economic crisis? You see, I said something here. So once something is not reported, it's as if it's never done. The biggest challenge governments have is how to communicate not just policies, but also their implementations. And this is where strategic communication comes in. If you read this book, some of the things I have put down have first-hand experience. There's no school that trains you to be a minister. They don't teach it in Harvard or Yale or Oxford. It's all about leadership. It's about how seriously you take your job and what you want to do. And again, what amount of risk are you going to take in your job. I'll give you just 2 examples. When I became a minister, 14 months before I became a minister, the Chibok girls were kidnapped. And every Monday, some ladies, NGO, led by Obi, Ezekwesili, they will go, and Adiza and Yusufu, they will go to the Transcorp there and say, where are our girls? As if they were in my room. And this thing went on and on. Where are our girls? Bring back our girls. These girls were kidnapped 14 months before I became a minister. How do you answer them? So one day, Sherlock, the then chief of air staff, came to my office and said, look, Honorable Minister, we are doing our best to recover these girls. But a lot of time had passed. As a matter of fact, my team from Yola, we will fly Sambisa every night trying to find out where these girls are kept. So I said, okay, let's do something. Supposing I come with you, will they bring back our girls? And they come to Yola. From Yola, we go to Sambisa and let them see firsthand what you are doing. He said, that would be nice, but would they accept? So let's try. So I approached Obi. Obi, I appreciate what we are doing, but you see, the Air Force is also doing its bit. Can you please join me with the Air Force? And we can go and see what they are doing in Sambisa. Unexpectedly, she accepted. I didn't think she was going to accept it. She did. So we left here, flew to Yola. When we got to Yola, we were debriefed. We were told that every night we enter their small ISR aircraft, and then we now see how the bigger aircraft, how they are searching and how they are looking for the girls. Meanwhile, our aircraft was equipped with monitors, so we could actually see how the other aircraft were diving. Good. So for 2 nights, myself, Obi, Yusufu, the media, we were in this small aircraft. We were flying Sambisa and seeing how the Boko Haram, so how they were coming out of them. Because once they hear the sound of aircraft, they start running. After 3 days, they begged to come back to Abuja. They came back to Abuja. They issued a statement on their own saying that they are satisfied with the work the Air Force is doing. That was the end of Bring Back Our Girls. Have you seen them again? So sometimes you create. You have to, otherwise you can't report what you don't create. You know, or like I said, you know, look at our trip to Kondoga, Kauri, and Bama. So these are ways that, to me, that you can, as a communicator, you can use strategic communication to help in times of stress or distress.
Let me stand up.
You don't have to say.
Honorable Minister, as I always call you.
Yeah, thank you.
First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to come and listen to this, my first ever book reading.
Thank you, sir.
I'm quite impressed by all the things I've heard, and I've already asked you, how do I get a couple of copies?
Yes.
I just want to buttress, where's Mr. Alugbemi? He just stepped out. He was counting the number of times you have said government is complex.
Yes.
He was counting it. He said 7 times.
7 times, yes.
I'm going to add the 8th time. Why government is complex.
By the way, Samson Goyemi is the MD of NEPSA. That's the Nigerian
Export Processing Zones Authority.
Yes. Thank you,
I was going to add to what you had said earlier when you talked about technocrats.
Yes.
And when you are asking about doing politics, some might say I'm a technocrat. But I'll go back to what Olugbemi said. I'm actually a real doctor, Dr. Ogunyemi, and I've practiced in the States for 30 years. Now that's a very cushy job. Most doctors want to jackpot to the States, the best in the world. Somehow, I thought, let me come and serve my country. Because I served my country during youth service. Let me come and do it again. I thought governance was easy. So I want to say for the 8th time, governance is complex. Very complex indeed. Honorable Minister, I look forward to seeing your book. I hope when I finish my own complex tenure, I will write my own book.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I've listened to you speak, and I'm really glad I'm here. I'm always in this kind of gathering because I like to learn from older people. Please, no disrespect meant, please. Yeah. So when I hear people ask questions and then those questions are being answered without an actual answer. Most times, just like now, somebody said, how do you find your way in Nigeria as a youth? And I'll always say, work hard. You know, there is no youth that doesn't work hard, but some don't work hard. Let me speak for myself. I do work hard. I was sent to school by my parents, so I'm supposed to work hard. Now I'm done working hard and I'm trying to work hard again, but there's actually no work to work hard in.
Too hard.
And then I hear read books. I'm always, if anybody knows me, I'm always in this bookstore. I buy books a lot.
That's good.
Though reading is a luxury, and buying book in Nigeria is also a luxury because these books are very expensive. So right now I'm not an empty vessel. I'm a vessel with content, almost spilling over with nowhere to pour into because I'm jobless. So what do you tell? So let's just come back from the whole typical work hard, read. I work hard.
Yeah.
I read. Yes, I have no job.
Yeah.
I have knowledge, yet I have nowhere to pour into.
That's good.
So what do you tell me that I'm actually putting in work?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think, like I said, we will all need to work together to save this country. And believe me, nobody is immune or safe from your problem. In other words, we all have children. We all have nieces, cousins. And the pressure on us, on me particularly, is even more than on your own, to get jobs for my grandnieces, for my grandchildren, and that kind of thing. Now, but I think we also need to not to look always to paid job. We need also to look, as I say, is that something that we do, we have skill, and we can contribute to? And I'll use my personal example. I have a daughter. When she finished from Reading University, she read microbiology or something like that. No, sorry, something came, anyway. And I said, oh, come, I would use the Nigerian factor and I'll get you to work at do your youth service with the NNPC. My daughter said no. I said why? He said because I won't be able to run away and do the things I want to do. What kind of rubbish is that one? I said, no, Daddy, please. Let me just do my regular NYC where I can have time. So she did NYC. She finished, and there was a time to get her a job. I went back to the job of NNPC again. My daughter said, no, she's not going to work for NNPC. What exactly do you want to do? Said, I want to go into fashion. I looked at her. I said, so we spend all this money you want to be a tailor? All the money we spend, me and your mother, you could have told us. She just laughed at us. My daughter started from our garage. Today, my daughter has 2 branches, one in Lekki, one in Victoria Island. As we speak today, she's in Amsterdam for an exhibition. She did not need to know anybody. I don't know whether you know her. Her name is Dialouge. She has a very big brand today. But that is, she did not rely on her father's connection. And I'm sure all of you have that latent talent or skill you can develop and make into money. This is why I said, not all of us will be in government. Oh, well, not all of us will be in politics. But you already acquired what you need, sound education. And when we now work together to make this country, a better one, then you find out that you'll be able to easily key into government projects. Because you have the skill and the knowledge. But I don't have any, solution right away to say, oh, this is how you can get a job. But believe me, I have a lot of confidence in this country. I'm very passionate about it, and I know we'll get it right.
I believe that's all. Thank you very much, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, for this an insightful engagement. We are praying to have you again when you finish your new book. I learned you are writing another book again.
Thank you.
But I don't think it's going to be about Buhari administration, rather maybe.
No, it's going to be, you see, I first wrote a book, I call it, I think I call it something Witness to History. Witness to History is actually about my days in opposition and the spokesperson for the opposition. This one is about my years in war. The one I'm writing now, I hope I'll get the money to do so, is actually bridging the gap between opposition. How did we transit from opposition to government? And believe me, it's two different ball games. Being opposition is different from being in government. So
thank you very much, sir. We are looking forward to it.
Thank you.
We have these books for purchase. If you want to purchase, you can bring it here for an autograph or signing. We have a lot of copies there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.